Hello, good morning everyone. Today I'm gonna show you a positional game played between Nakamura and Anish Giri. Okay, this was e4, white is Nakamura and black is Anish Giri. e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. Okay, this is a standard position of lopez where black will play a6 and bishop to a4, knight f6, castle. So this position Giri played not so great, but easy equal line, knight f6, castle, knight into e4. Okay, rook e1 and knight d6. After knight d6 you can play knight e5, bishop, something else. So he played knight e5, bishop e7. Okay, bishop e7. Now he played bishop to f1. Why? Because later he will open, maybe he'll play this, or okay, this is a slow positional game where we don't have any forced moves for either white or black, so we have a move such that it based on their plannings, their own ideas. There is no much creativity, but still this will be a positional gameplay where both the white and black will have only one open file to face. Okay, he played knight e5, rook e5, and then castle shot. Okay, now black will play to bishop f6, attacking this rook on e5, sorry. Then we'll play knight f5 and d5 with all active pieces, and both the rooks will be connected. So as white have a same plan like this, maybe c3, bishop some point f4, knight d2, all will have a decent place pieces. Okay, now he played d4, and black's plan is bishop f6, rook e1. Okay, now he played rook e8, challenging this rook. Okay, at this point white can play you have to play rook e8. For example, if you played rook e8, then black have so many options like queen e8 1 and knight e8 followed by d5, bishop f5, knight e6 to e4, and black pieces will be very free. He can play a lot of things. So this game will mostly becomes, this type of positions will mostly becomes a draw. Okay, here Nakamura he can play bishop e3 either. Why? Because after bishop e3 can support the pawn, but white is threatening knight f5 to d5, and at one point he'll get knight e3 and maybe he'll have double bishop advantage. He cannot play any other move because this d4 pawn is going down. So he played c3, reducing these bishop squares. Means this bishop will be not that much active when you have pawn chain like this. So he played rook e1, queen e1, and knight f5 with the idea of e5, d5, sorry, knight e6, maybe knight e4, or even knight e6, bishop f5. So here there are lots of options. One is to develop knight to f3, e5. Another is to play bishop f4. So here Nakamura played bishop f4. Why? Because now if he played d6, there is no knight d6 to e4, and the other point is if he played d5, he can simply grab this pawn and will have a mate on e8. So bishop f4, he played c6. Anish Giri played c6. Here I prefer, I think d6 is little bit good than c6. Why? Because now this bishop diagonals is fully open and white will have a little edge in the game. He maybe sometimes he'll get this d6 square. What? So d6 is little slow, but eventually after knight e7, maybe bishop f5, you can gradually play and even equals this position. So after c6, white played a4 and black played a5. Here Nakamura trying to fix this pawn on a5 so that it will be a weakness. So he played bishop c7, gaining control on light's dark squares. So if you cannot take with queen into c7, queen e8 is a checkmate. So he played queen f8. After queen f8, now you can play knight d2. So knight d2, but Nakamura played bishop d3, equal good. Why? Because this bishop is not so good after g3 and bishop g2. This diagonal after d5 will be very solid for black, and this bishop on g2 will not have that much work to do. So he plays bishop d3. Maybe at one point he will get a something in the king side. After d5, he played bishop b6 with the idea not to exchange the queens, and this bishop won't be under attack, and not trying to fix this pawn on b6, not trying to open anything, fix this pawn or rook on a8. So here he played knight d6 with the idea of bishop f5 maybe, or even knight e4 one point after bishop f5 g6. Okay, so he played knight d2. He can't do much about bishop f5. So now white is very clear with this plan. He needs to play knight f3 d5, or even queen b1, maybe with b4, fixing this pawn and trying to create a positive pawn maybe in the a file. Okay, so he played bishop e6. I think this move is little passive here. Why? Because he could have tried bishop f5 and tried to equalize the position, and maybe he could have drawn this game. So both are playing for a win. So he played queen b1 and g6 with the idea of bishop g7. So maybe bishop f5 later, or even king can fly a square. So b4. Here Nakamura played b4, which is little risky to activate this bishop diagonal. So a b4, q b4. So there is no point of c b4 because of this pawn is very weak, and it will go very soon, and the queen on b1 does nothing if you capture with c b4. Now queen on b4 does lot will attack b7 at one point maybe. And okay, fine. After queen b4, bishop f5, bishop c5. Here I think bishop c5 is not that much good. Why? Because he could have grabbed the bishop into f5, knight into f5. Now he could have played bishop c5. Why? Because I thought he's giving maybe double bishop without much compensation, but still this position is not very open. He can challenge with bishop and knight, but it's hard to compare now the position between this knight and this bishop, the bishop on d6, the knight on d6 and bishop on d. So it's hard to compare the pieces which are strong. Maybe I think at one point black if opens all these pawns, black able to open all these pawns, then two bishops will be very good. Bishop c5 interesting, bishop d3 and bishop d6, queen e8. Now he can even play queen c8. Okay, here Nakamura played, no, Giri played knight f3, bishop a6 supporting this pawn, and knight bishop e5. Now Nakamura tries to exchange this bishop with bishop on e5. He wants to occupy the dark squares and weakness of dark squares in the black camp. So bishop e7 and bishop d6, again bishop f6. So Nakamura is trying for a win and he played rook e1, queen d7 and bishop e7. Again he tries to exchange this bishop, so he played bishop g7, knight e5 attacking the queen and queen to f5. At this moment I think the position is still equal for both players can equal this very easily, but they are still playing, one of them playing for win. So queen d6, rook e8. Now he played h3. I think it's a good idea. Why? Because after h3 he can try maybe g4, and this queen doesn't have a good square, and queen d7, after that f7. Okay, fine, queen e6, he exchanged simply queen e6, f6. Now I think queen e6 is a big mistake. Why? Because this queen directly blocks everything, and now there's a permanent weakness of b7 and this e6. So he immediately played bishop c5 and g5, bishop b4 and h6. H6. Now he's starting king, maybe king h7 g, like that. So after bishop b5, Giri can still equal this position. This is an opposite color bishop ending. So even Giri is trying for something with double bishop. So he played, now both players are playing for win. So he played nd7, king f7 and rook e3. After rook e3 he played king g6 and bishop d6. Now bishop d6 with the idea to exchange this bishop and to have a good e5 square. So after this he played h5 with the idea maybe of bishop h6.